1 second. All right, we're live on all these great channels. Finishing up last song. Let's do a quick quality check on the IMC TV channel. We'll laugh behind. Hey! Prince Quillion joined us for a quick second. I was lightning before the thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning, then the thunder, feel the thunder.
How was your day, bro?
Not being a big star. What's up?
What's up? How was your day?
Oh man, I'll get into it. Let me click record before I get into it. I'm tapping in. Tap in, and then I'll be happy to answer that. I'll tap in, do a quick intro, and then I'll answer that.
There you go. Wonderful day.
That's good enough. All right. Oh man, right when I started, then it ends the Instagram live over here because the music, censorships and whatnot. Let's try one more time. It didn't end it over here, so you guys stick with it. We'll start in a second. This Instagram has just as many people, so we should do it. Add title, live. What's up, IMC Nation Instagram? We had just gotten cut off because Instagram doesn't like me playing good music for you guys. So we started it back up. We'll get started right into it. It's Enlightened Masculinity Podcast. And I'm Yogi Chris. This happens right now. This happens Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. So you guys feel free to, dang, Demigod QC tapping in. What's up with you? What's up with you? The Dark Knight himself and the Joker all combined in one. That's Demigod. Okay. So I'll click record. I'll do a quick intro. And then I know I have at least one question. So, it's probably a casual question. It's not that big a deal. And then, we'll get into it. Maybe, the episode can totally be steered by, whoever's participating. That's kind of what it is. Blessings to you, Dr. Dabs. Okay. So many people on my Instagram are into weed and cannabis industry. I should connect them all. And yeah, see, DJ Side Effects got some weed right there. Tony K never touches the shit. That's for numbskulls, he says. Yeah. Knuckleheads. Neanderthals. All right, let's go. Click record to this cloud. Welcome, everybody, to Enlightened Masculinity Podcast, the greatest podcast on earth for just enlightened masculine audience. And women also listen to this, and they know, and they should know that I know that you're listening to this. So this is also for you. Streaming from IMC Base 1, I'm Captain Yogi Chris, captain of IMC Nation, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, And recently I've been teaching a lot more yoga at our fight center. We have a fight center here in San Jose, and that's where I'm streaming to you from. And so I've been teaching yoga there. That's pretty dope. Remember. It's a fun word, like to member, like bringing it together, to remember, like dismember, remember. Get it? So to remember things is like putting it all back together. Flying Girl is there. And whole audience is everywhere coming in from all sorts of places around the world. So, this episode, I titled it, and we'll get into it. Like I said, I'll field a question. There was somebody just wanted to ask me how my day was. And if there's anything else also, but I wanted to field that in the beginning. But I'll definitely, the episodes on podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify and all that, you have a quick time to get their attention and make them like the episode. So I do my quick intro at an enthusiastic level, and then I want to let you know that I'll be talking about multiple relationships and expanding IMC Nation. And IMC Nation is a very interesting thing to expand because it's a army, a volunteer army. So it's like that Minutemen militia. It's an army, but it's all volunteer. And it's very interesting. So it's men that are under the scrutiny and the code of ethics and the code of being and conduct amongst each other as a military movement, as a team, as a sports team, but much more integrated, because there are many sports athletes. Like we were just watching a video of an ex-NBA player that his wife had an OnlyFans and decided to break it to him on live stream. And it's like, she's like, my body, my choice, whatever. Yeah, but it's my marriage that I signed on this thing. So we're getting a divorce is what it should have been. And you shouldn't have gotten married, because why would you marry the girl? Well, what benefit was it to you to marry the girl? You did it for the ritual to like please your parents and everything. Give her a ring, let her wear it, but don't sign a contract where you can't get rid of her when she starts an OnlyFans against your will. If you wanted to have an OnlyFans, then do it, or something else. I don't know what he could have done. There's 1,000 solutions. But even men that are rich, tall, handsome, got a lot going for them, you name it, they still get torn apart internally and externally from their friends and their families and everything because of, it's not the women. I'm not here to blame the women, because how weak it is that the man lets the woman do that, or that he allows himself to be so affected by the woman. She's not doing shit. She's not coming in and like tearing your relationships apart with your friends. She's not, beating you around until you do what she says. She's just harnessing your lust for her and your neediness and slingshotting it back onto your head. She's controlling you because of your own desires. And that's what God gave her, was an aptitude to do that. She didn't even know it. She didn't have to learn it from anywhere. And, God gave the man the ability to walk away. Easy. Create again. You just keep creating. You'll be able to create till you're 90. She won't. So but then, the brainwashing and the culture and everything. So how do you lead a very a natural relationship that has so much of nature's power in it, when you're in the matrix? It would be like literally the movie The Matrix, where they're living out of the matrix, unplugged. How do you bring that awareness and appreciation of life into the matrix? Plug into the matrix, but then keep all of the sanity and the naturalness of out of the matrix. It's pretty impossible. And even if you do it for a little bit, the matrix is going to mind wash you again. Eventually you'll get hypnotized into thinking it's real again. So it's kind of like that. And that's what we do. IMC, we tap in on this very natural level. And so it's amazing, because the conduct, no matter where you are in life, what business or level of business or anything, like I said in the beginning, the athletes, not having it down with women is one thing, but then not having agreement with your friends about how to have relationships to some level. I mean, you have your personal, what you do personally within your relationships, but then having some common code of conduct. We all have it, like in society, like we're not going to rape. I mean, some people, I guess, don't have that, but we have that. We have certain maybe ethics when it comes to like not getting with wives and girlfriends of men that we respect. Some of us don't have that, we just don't have that. But some of a lot, it's very common that we would not pursue that outright. And yet many men are so needy and weak that if that woman, that wife of our friend or whatever, really came after us, we'd probably give in. Came after us. If she really came on to us if she found the right situation and did it, how many men would resist if she was attractive? So a certain code of ethic that, that those doors are open and available to women because men and women are intermingling as if there is no human nature. Human nature, I read a very interesting definition today. It was in the back of a psychology book. Human nature, the psychological adaptations that humans have inherited over time, and it's in our genes. Something I kind of paraphrase it. It's not word for word, but I think that's the essence of it. Excuse me. So psychological adaptation, we have actually adapted to women being a certain way, men being a certain way, roles, age playing a difference in this thing, tribal organization. That's what it was for many, 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 many thousands of years, tens and tens of thousands of years. Recently, it's different. It's still there. It's just really embedded in a global system and so many different things. Kids taken from their parents and educated elsewhere, kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of obscurity in it in recent times, but that's not enough to really have, penetrated into the genetics and the genome and everything. Maybe a little bit, but not compared to all of human history. So, psychological adaptations that have been put aside or pushed under the rug, swept under the rug for the sake of, a cultural mass education of how, public schooling and religious education and certain cultural norms and group norms that maybe go against your individual human nature, for the sake of pleasing others, pleasing the group. And that group, how loyal are you among the group? Is the group just a amorphic, just everybody? Is it just vague, like everybody? The group, the group. Or do you have a group, your group? Is it your sports team? Is it your fraternity? Is it your drinking buddies? Is it your workmates? Is it people you see at the park? I mean, there's a lot of layers to this because it could be, there's close inner group, there's layers of group. That I am an American citizen, but I'm also IMC Nation, it's embedded. I'm also Caucasian, white, male, I'm also wrestler. Like there's all these groups, but there's a ranking internally, how tight are you with the group and how much does the group matter to you? Like, okay, I'm a wrestler, but does that mean I'm going to I would stand up for anybody that was just getting picked on, but that would touch me a little bit more emotionally if a wrestler were being unfairly treated because of wrestling, or if there was prejudice against wrestling, because I identify with that group. But what about IMC Nation? What about my family? Different groups. So what was I saying? That door closing kind of snapped me out of this illusion I was in. I was going deep into that. Human nature. So to please other people, a person will subdue their own human nature, go against it, or repress it, really do something on the outside of it, internally resist it, not want to do it, want to do something else, which may leak out in another way. So the sequestering of human nature, that's what people, wherever they are out there in society, they're like that. And so when their lust for women get involved and they're intermixing with men and women at their workplace and with their friends and their homies and with guys they know and whatever, then it has a lot of doors open for women. They already have doors open. They could literally just go down the street, knock on a neighbor's house that's never met her before. If she's attractive, he'll do her. She doesn't really need, literally that's a door opening, but she doesn't need too many social connections to make that so available for her. But at least giving her more space between her and a guy that's close to you, because unknowingly she'll use that as advantage against you by disapproving of something you do and siding with him just on little things until she has more control over you because you give in. Again, it's not her, it's the guy. But you're entering into an agreement and an arrangement with women that make it so. You're willingly submitting yourself like a submissive man. Tie me up, gag me. I'm willingly letting you beat me around. You don't have to. Now, you can be alone for a little while you disconnect from all the people that would have you be a little bitch, that want you as a little bitch. So, a little submissive bitch that they tie up and put in a cage and fucking gag and whatever, like that. That's what they're doing, because if you say the wrong thing, no. Really? Is that really? No. They start talking down to you, all patronizing. You have the right to walk away. and create. And see, that's IMC Nation is a bunch of men that walked away from the bullshit into a common organization, a common philosophy. And now there's a transition. So like I said, there are other topics. Now, I realized that at the beginning I said that somebody had a question. I think you were just checking in, like, how's my day? And, I'm willing to answer that now, or maybe I kind of got into my talk. I forgot. I don't know if there was something more specific or if it was just, how's your day? I was in the middle of tapping in when he asked me. So I was like, it's the peak of my favorite song. No, nothing. He's still on, but maybe he doesn't know I'm asking him. Okay, we'll just move on after I take a sip. Drink. So the ethics, code of conduct, so you have this certain standards, and then coming to a common understanding about this, about everything I just said, even though you can find it in all the books, all the textbooks, and, there's not, I could only imagine a guy out there in the world, a lone wolf, coming across evolutionary psychology books like Sperm Wars or whatever, reading them, first of all, having the idea, like looking at them, deciding to buy them, then reading them. Right away, that would be pretty awakening. The dude would be super awakened on a lot of stuff with men and women. Just so much. Like basically how female interactions with men is almost always pitting two men against each other. That's like just her nature. She's fishing through an ocean of men for a man that really catches her attention. Then she's looking for a second to put them against each other. That's just her nature. Now, there may not be a second or a close second. If he's not close to being second, then it's limited. And she'll fully submit to one. But she'll always have an eye out for a competitor. It's her nature. Her nature is to keep going with the winner. Hypergamy. She's not monogamous. She's hypergamous. That's her design. So it's your job to be the best and keep being the best. Same with her. That's why marriage doesn't work, because then you settle and you stop trying to be the best for each other. So then you're trying to force this relationship where your human nature is saying, no, look outside this relationship. So, as I was saying, if a person red-pilled themselves on all the human, sexual psychology stuff, where was I going with that? I don't remember. Okay, ethics, IMC, the saying about multiple. Oh, I was checking in about the question for me. Multiple relationships. Oh, this ethics among people, and it would get in between guys, and you wouldn't be able to convince guys of this stuff. You'd have to read all the books, and then they'd be open to it. But that's a rare individual, because all my life, every man I ever met, maybe I've lost touch with many men. I've lost connections with all the old teammates and everything. But I don't know, man. As I've met so many men through, we have TikTok accounts, thousands and thousands, and all the people I've messaged through Instagram. It's a lot, like so many messages every day for years now. Like I'll go to my Facebook Messenger and just be scrolling for a long time just to see how far it goes. I was curious the other day. It was so far, so many. And it was like the dates were not moving very fast. And I'm just hella scrolling. And it's like, man, I totally forgot about that person, It's like that on all the platforms for me, in text and everything. And man, I don't know anybody that's read all the books. Like a handful that even read one or two. It's been suggested to many, or, something like it, like joining IMC or coming to a lecture and seeing some of that stuff. And, in communicating with all those people, there are many men who were interested in this subject, wanted to get better, and still didn't read the books. And so they had the ambition and the motivation and the aspirations, and they didn't. So I'll bet all the other guys most definitely didn't either. So of all of the men I've communicated with all my life, it's very, very, very few that, red-pilled themselves on the evolutionary psychology texts. And without that, it would be very difficult to talk about the red pill stuff. We could probably group the pickup artists in with the evolutionary psychologists. If they're studying pickup, not just like how to get married, but like pickup. then they're borderline with the evolutionary psychology, and they're probably picking up a thing or two about evolutionary psychology. They're not fully red-pilled, but they're red-pilled in a different way. That whole collection of people, men who have dove into the red pill information about men and women, human nature, basically, human nature, red pill, and the pickup artistry, which is just taking advantage of human nature if it's done right. There's a lot of really cheeseball and terrible pickup artists out there that teach wrong human conduct that maybe has found some sort of shortcuts, but it violates the people at large, the group at large. So it's just not a high ethic of human conduct. And that's why what gives bad reputation to the idea of pickup artists. But legitimate pickup artists grouped in with the human psychology red pillars, very small population of men that you could talk with about this stuff. And those are the only men that you'll ever come to any kind of agreement about how to conduct yourself around each other's wives, girlfriends, women. You know, at the very best, you'll have a man that highly respects you for whatever reason. You have some reason to be respected, hopefully, as a man. And if that man highly respects you, then when he's around your woman or beforehand, you could tell him, my woman's not going to look at you, talk with you. Don't give her, bother giving her eyes or trying to shake her hand or regard her at all. Just ignore her. She's just going to hide behind me while we interact. And if he highly respects you, then he may change his conduct around you without needing to know any of the red pill information about human nature and pickup artistry and whatever. But if it's not that sort of situation, he's going to violate. He's going to try to make eyes and whatever with your girl if she's pretty. And it's going to be weird. And that's where she needs to be trained. And if she's trained not in the sense of like dog training, but trained in the sense of like a black belt. Be trained how to be a lethal weapon with me, to maneuver. So I don't have to worry about you at all. You just are on my arm or got my back and you're on me like glue without sticking to me and holding me up. You are just shadowing me. You're like my shadow. And I don't have to tell my shadow where to go. It moves naturally on its own in the right way. And so that's where it'll be very difficult to come to really any sort of agreements about women. And so if you don't have agreements about women, then how close can you really relate with your bros? When you go out or when you have office parties or when you have house parties or, So we have IMC Nation, and we're not all about just game and relationships. It's just that that's where the world is weakest, where the men of the world are weakest, and they get broken and the limit on their success because they've not mastered that aspect of themselves that relates with women, picks up women, seduces women, gets with women, their nature and their ethics. Because we're not just blindly being a bunch of genetic replicating machines. We're a spirit in a genetic body. So, the same mentalities and the same ethics that applies with multiple relationships is honesty, transparency, but also seduction. So that means there is a storyline you're playing in, and there's magic because it's not just a plausible storyline. It's something that is deeply felt by the person so that you end up creating something with each other. So this is a good opportunity for DJ Side Effects. You had a question? Go for it. Okay, so DJ Side Effects is unavailable, but I also used that opportunity as AZD walked his girlfriend by to create a plausible pause in my stream because I don't want to be just like making loud philosophy over here while he's walking his girl by. And it's doubled as an opportunity for Side Effects to ask this question. So, just that code of conduct. So she doesn't have to protect her ears and he doesn't have to talk over me so that she's listening to him or, because it's not a big deal to people who are lame asses and they're not attractive. If they have nothing to say that's going to grab a girl's ear. But if you've designed yourself to be super attractive like a girl that's with me, she's designed herself to be super attractive, super charismatic, super girly, super drawing the attention of a man because I'm a man. And I've made it so that she keeps drawing my attention week after week, month after month, year after year. So she's changing herself. She's upgrading herself. She's growing. She's behaving in the way that I like because I got the value. And they don't know. You think you might think it's just because he's cocky or he's got energy, or maybe, I don't know, I got money, or I live with AZD. I don't know what you think I got going. And those things definitely play a big advantage, that I live with 3 other alpha guys that are players, look good, smell good, know how to maneuver and move, can fight, are hustlers. Like, we're cool, we're unplugged, we're not normal. And we're not growing and evolving in normal ways like the normal people out there do. But when it comes down to it, it's an artistry in how I communicate, of course, to the preference of the girls that are with me. It's not to everybody's liking. I don't need it to be everybody's liking. I like a certain experience with women, both being around them physically and what that experience is, but also how they treat me, how they interact with me. Like, that's, so that's what I'm going for. And, so I kind of lost the point, but basically they've made themselves so attractive that, of course, when we're out in public or around other men, it's going to draw men's attention. That's what, you're designed for. And you're not ignoring your human nature. You're doing your hair, your lips, your face, your body. You're acting and talking in a way that, if you just the sound of a girly girl's voice around a real red-blooded man is going to be like, oh, oh, the ears go up, oh. It's like the Doberman pincer. And you don't even have to try. You have to resist not to do it, So she should be shy and quiet when she's around your guys. And if your guy has a girl around, maybe, don't be over the top confident, like dim it down or whatever. It's just a polite thing to do amongst your tribe, maybe not outside of the tribe. That would be stupid. Unless you feel threatened or you're trying to give respect or something, who knows? So, DJ, you right there? Or you on a double stream? I keep calling for it. What's that guy doing? Who knows? TK, what's that guy doing? Shout out TK, old staff member, current staff member, master myself. I think I'm going to have a combined staff meeting, shifting to the next subject, expanding IMC. So delegating tasks and responsibilities is very similar to multiple relationships. I was saying that the ethics are very similar, and the transparency and, definitely the decentralization of it. So it's actually not some kind of like tyrannical central authority. It's each person makes their own role, just like each girlfriend makes her own relationship with you. And you're there inspiring, leading, planting seeds and ideas, but you're catering that to her, but she is that energy and she puts in the effort to create something with you. And you're there leading it and guiding it. It gives her something fulfilling to nurture and create. So, what did I say in the podcast notes right here?
How many people are on?
On Zoom, not including myself, is 4. This Instagram is 3. This Instagram, I don't think has any.
Cool.
But then we're also streaming to some YouTubes. Where is it? 1. Okay, so it's like 8 or 9 people total.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And that's something, I was talking about with Ambu today, because IMC TV, the streams don't necessarily get a lot of.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt at some point. I have to go grab my girlfriend. Okay,
Oh.
Could be any minute, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's doing it on this like volunteer basis, and all the guys are doing it like, so I give them ideas for how to expand it, but I can feel and see how there's discouragement. Like, because it doesn't have the growth. It's difficult to, if I wanted more audience, I would stream to the TikToks right now.
Yeah.
But they don't get it. It's a different kind of talk I give to the TikTok people than these people.
Yeah.
And, so the numbers may not be there for the people. So, the big motivation that I was talking with the officers about is just as part of the process, like creating your audience, yes, but getting your ideas out, speaking them out, and, just having that calibration to an audience of these ideas.
Well, have you experimented talking to the TikTok audience? Just having them just listen and see what the reaction is going to be, without thinking that it's a different, without thinking that we should talk to them a different way. Have you tried just having them listen to what it's like to hear you just talk about the process, whatever it is?
Yeah.
So when I did that, my stats went up. Just recently, we're talking about the last 3-4 months. I did that without saying it to anybody. I kept mentioning it. I kept saying, well, I'm trying to figure out a way. No. In very recent times, I just said, I think I'm just supposed to speak my unique expression. I remember it was like when I said you have to find your voice. That's when it was like 2 months ago. And now that's what I'm doing, even with the girlfriends, even right now. I see how many times I cut. It seems like I'm free my expression, but I'm not. I censor a lot because my world is just really creatively imaginative, you could say. It's just another world, right? And if I say I did it this morning in class, I did it yesterday in class. In the last 2 days, I've done more of it. Where I go into these storylines, someone says something and I tell them what I see. You know what I mean? So that's my head. And a lot of times I don't say that. But I don't say it because I think people aren't prepared for it, don't like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's also, so you wouldn't change, well,
I'm not saying what I'm saying as an experiment. If you do it, you might be surprised because you're actually speaking more the truth to these guys, right? That's how I feel now.
To the TikTokers or these guys?
To the closer guys, these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because they, like the TikTokers and like total new audience, whatever they are, is just like, man, they're lacking so much awareness of certain things to measure what I'm saying about. So I am giving.
I'm telling you, I know this is true now, but you got to try it for yourself. I know this is true. We're supposed to just say it. It's an idea in the mind that we're supposed to speak a certain way to them. We're just supposed to say it. They're adults. Once they're adults, we just say what we say. Because imagine if Sagru and Maharashi, and they do that. They don't really say it all the time, but sometimes they just say their experience. Like when I watched Sagru the other night, I'm like, whoa, fuck. But then I saw on Joe Rogan kept censoring it. He was like, I don't want to say it, it's going to sound illogical. I live like that. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure many people do. And so the problem is we hold back and we give everyone just slightly above experience, just slightly above average experience. What our reality is really just like bullshit. That's really what's going on. You guys don't have any fucking furniture. You live with AZD and you're fucking, how many chicks got fucked here by the end of this week? At least 6. At least 6 girls walked in here and got fucked on a furnitureless, fucking foodless, fucking. We got nothing. It even smells bad in here sometimes. So the truth is so fantastic that we think we always have to tell the lesser tale, right? Our reality is too big. Like I always tell people about my own life, but now, like especially this month, I'm going, no, that's not even right. It's not even right. Let's say it and see what happens. And I think you're going to be surprised what's going to happen. Somebody in that audience is waiting for the truth, right? And everybody else is just they come and they go. And when you touch that right person because you didn't hold back, they're like, that's it. I knew I was here for that. I don't know why I was here this whole time. I come to class, it's good, but I just know like ACD knows something, or like I just know I'm supposed to be here. Okay, well, let me give you my fucking experience now as AZD. Would you like to know how it went today? Because that's what I'm reporting on tomorrow. Okay, that's actually what it's like to be me. I don't think if I told people now, they would be like, I think they'd be more fascinated, actually. I really do, because it's more fascinating. But I always felt weird about it, right? So I think you should try an experiment and just do like a super advanced talk and invite everybody and just say, I'm going to talk to you guys like you've been here for a while and you've been studying, okay? So to say this is an advanced talk on the AZD Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how many people show up that are amateurs. It's just that, right? Just go to the top. Let whoever can keep up. I'm telling you. Oh, here we are again.
Yeah.
See, that's becoming a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing now.
That's started.
Subconscious shit, like it's connected to the on.
Yeah.
No, we'll be so powerful one day. IMC Nation will rule the world that it'll be like no problem to be like, oh, white people doing that. It would just be accepted because we come from the truth. We're not saying the negative way. We just say white power.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, that's true. So, I may end up shifting the podcast time because there are better times for like TikTok audience. We see the wave of like participation. So like peaking it at a different time. Since I'm already going to do a TikTok stream at that time, I'm just going to shift my IMC TV time to that.
And then they might come up with a question that's very unique because they hear you from their subset. Like, what do you mean when you said beast process or something? Or
that's true.
Said beast, and then it starts a whole other dialogue.
Yeah.
My chick's coming in. I got to
Sure. Okay. Is there any feedback from any of that? That was guest appearance AZD.
Yeah, just a voice.
Just a voice in the background.
Yeah.
You guys muted? AGMM, DJSA. Okay. So, delegating responsibilities. Trust. These things are important. You got to have a lot of trust and trust in your people to take up their responsibility and what, you're instructing them to do, what you're guiding them to do. One of the officers was saying to me today, it was interesting. He was like, I can't get these guys to do any fun. They don't follow through. I tell them what to do, but they don't follow through. And it's like, I know exactly what you mean. It's like, so I say almost all my groups, it's like that, but I don't pay any of my groups. They do stuff. And because they want to. Ambu was a staff member for 2 years. Master myself is a staff member for 2 years. Zay is a staff member. Guys are becoming officers that were staff members because they did it for their passion of the subject, the interest of getting close to the information. Because the value here is, it's a mentality. It's a state of mind. It's understanding communication and imagination in a way of how you create your state of mind, how to read other people's state of mind, what they're really thinking and feeling about what's going on. That makes people feel very heard. And you can also feel like you get your message across. It makes them feel like they got their message across. And that's such a rare experience for people in the world.
Let me get my check.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's right there. No, going out. Okay. So, those qualities and what we're doing with IMC being this kind of intelligence and people that can finesse communication, that can be the messengers and transfer ideas and smooth out communications and conflicts and misunderstandings, and that skill of bringing sanity and order to situations that people become very frustrated, and relationships can blow up, businesses can blow up, all sorts of things can go to chaos because people are having misunderstandings and they're not saying words correctly. Girl was saying something and it was just completely wrong. It was like almost violating. She said it almost like the script of it, the words of it was an insult practically to me. And I have to look past that because she's just like not good at communicating. Ask questions. Later, she says it a totally different way. Whereas at the beginning, she's like blaming me, like my energy made her repel or something like that. It's like, no, it's my energy didn't do jack shit. You ran away because you couldn't handle what I was saying. It's within you. And then later she ends up admitting I'm just too sensitive to that subject, and that's why I ran away. And it was a completely different statement. Whereas the first one was blaming me, the second one was taking responsibility for it. And she actually had that second, more evolved idea the whole time. She just had the wrong language to express it because people are so bad at putting the right words on their ideas. That's why they never feel heard or understood. So we'll have bases with guys that live in the bases and they're having conflicts internally, creating a bunch of force fields between each other where you live 3 feet from each other and you have to reach out to people from outside the base, and you feel more close to people outside the base than you do with people inside your base because you have these invisible force fields in your base because of not knowing how to communicate, not having the right words to put on your experience for your wants, desires, needs, your boundaries, expectations, how to hear people when, everybody's just dragging their feet through 6 feet of garbage. That's their life. They're dragging their feet through their mindset, which is garbage, trying to communicate. They can't see who they're talking to. They can't step accurately. They're sliding all over the place. It smells. They're not having a pleasant experience. They're frowning, trying to communicate to people. And so everybody else is picking up a frowning person and they think it's them. They're like, what's wrong with me? And then they start getting angry at the other person. And it's like the other person was just feeling bad inside and you took it personal because they had a face. Shit like that. So people are just wrapped up in each other as if it's their responsibility and their business. And they don't know how to be their own individual and how to have standards and expectations on other. But that's what the base is like you have agreements for standards. And, that's where we're evolving. and you work through it. And, you know, the shame of it is, the tragic humor of it is that you know, the very same individuals who might actually criticize you for saying what I just said, like I moved into a base to improve my character and this and that. And they would be like, you don't need to do that. Like, you know, he's walking through with this girl. So, but those same people are not improving their character actually on that. And they don't have good character on that. That's why they criticize it. The person who doesn't have those character flaws wouldn't criticize it, actually. It's the demon in them that's inadequate on that subject that points out the flaw. In a way that's to cut you down. That's important. The intention and the vibe under the communication, is it to cut you down? So like I might be on officers meeting and some of the officers may be overweight. And if I missed my wake up this morning and I didn't do my workout the last 2 days, even though I'm lean and I wouldn't be overweight, I would maybe come at them and be like, you guys are off your process, blah, blah, blah. But there would be like malice in my voice because I'm trying to put in ethics on them, even though I'm the one out ethics, or at least I'm the one feeling bad about it's my own out ethics why I'm feeling bad and wanting to victimize other people. You got to not only notice that in yourself, A, B, not go out ethics, so you cut that shit out. C, not take it personal when other people are out ethics and they're trying to put ethics on you, telling you what to do because they're really slipping on their shit. But if I was on my shit, waking up, workout, everything, business, everything, not slacking anywhere, and one of the officers is overweight, what's going on? Why are you overweight? Are you counting your macro? This or that? It's the same issue, but I would be approaching it in ethics. And then there may still be some personality conflicts where they don't like how I say it, whatever. And, you know, people that are out ethics are sensitive little bitches. They get their feelings hurt real easy when you're out ethics. When you are acting in a way that you don't like, then everybody can offend you with every little thing. That's where we have the origins process. We have a process of daily discipline where if you do this daily discipline, the origins process, you're going to feel good about yourself. And you're not going to be sensitive. You'll be sensitive, but you won't be fragile. You'll actually be more sensitive. Sensitive people aren't really sensitive. What they are is fragile. They misinterpret everything and they become little beta bitches about things because they're fragile. Not that they're sensitive. I want to be sensitive. I want to detect the minutest changes. Because I'm a sniper. I'm lethal. I don't want any error in my calculations of how to react or respond to any situation. I want perfect accuracy. Now, I'm working towards that. And it's getting more perfect every day. But it's not my sensitivity that would be my weakness. It would be my fragility, my breakability, my emotionalness, my beta-ness. Okay? So I talked about expanding IMC, multiple relationships. I think expanding IMC is really delegating your responsibilities. First, people have to become essential and integrated to IMC. Give everything and make yourself valuable. We have Will Rios, who's now throwing parties every Wednesday at his base. That's great. He's got his base mates, you know, doing promo for that because he's busy being a lawyer all day. So they're doing promo for that. It's growing. New people getting exposed. He's brought people to the fight center. He's doing it. If he keeps doing that seriously, expanding, finding different places to post about these parties and whatever, he's going to grow the party to 20, 30, 40, 50 people. And pretty soon he's going to be almost a party promoter. He could rent out a venue. He could have holiday parties. He could get selective. He could charge at the door. He could do whatever. He could make a business out of it if he wanted. Meanwhile, he's delegating to his staff members, his base mates, to do it all. He just shows up and DJs or does whatever, you know? So that's what you do when you're in a base. When you're not in a base, you just become so invaluable at what you do. Like I'm sure there's people who want to be DJs or something. And so you could teach people how to do mixes and whatever online. And in exchange, they research and find venues for you to call for your travel DJ business. That's what I did with yoga. I taught my yoga mindset. and they found me businesses to call. So I would travel to the US teaching at businesses, but I had to call them first to book it. I did the sales calls, but they did the research. So that was a staff trade-off. That has evolved into what is now the social media staff, the marketing staff, the sales staff, the podcast staff, the web design staff, like just a bunch of staff that's all volunteer, just a bunch of people that work with me, because accountability and seeing all the little details that go into making the business work is worth it for them. Maybe they get little perks here and there. So it's like that in the multiple relationships. Multiple relationships with women is not that different from multiple relationships with a bunch of men that you're working with outside. Obviously, the sexuality and men and women dynamic is different. But the trust, the delegation of things, my staff members have passwords to my Gmails and all sorts of content. They have access to all the boot camps that AZD's ever done, even though they didn't pay for them. They don't get to watch them, but they could if they wanted to. But then they would start fucking up on some other things because they go out ethics. They would start becoming critical or missing assignments or waking up late. They would literally feel guilty about it. And so they would fuck up. So that's why when there's big mess ups that are happening, just look for the out ethics. Because when everybody has all their ethics in, they resolve shit. One of the exceptions might be if alcohol is involved or other drugs, but that's an out ethics in itself. Where did you lose control as a grown up in how much you were taking in? Unless somebody drugged you and roofied you, okay, there's a valid excuse, but outside of that. So it doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. I'm just saying that the mistakes that it takes two to make a problem, but you always have cause over yourself. You caused something, and where did you lose track of what you were causing? Because you played a role in creating any unpleasant situations that you might have. And in relationships with women, there's plenty of unpleasant situations to have there. And in staff members and what we're doing, at least the way I'm doing it, especially because it's so voluntary. So that's what it is with the women. It's voluntary that you're here. Yeah, there's some exchange of things, but it's not like you're on salary or whatever. And I'm not providing you like a white picket fence house, like buying you like that, like the old adage that the wife is a really high class whore. She take half, pay her half of what you got, and you can buy this whore for the rest of her life. Like that's marriage. And not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, shit, you buy a virgin and you got her forever and whatever. But if it changed your soul because you can't be free as a man, then I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I don't care how good of that pussy it is. No pussy's worth it. And, so on this voluntary basis, because the value is here, it's the same thing with the staff members. The value is here. So I'm willing to guide you so that you can create this for yourself. I would rather all my staff members make tons of money. I teach them how to make tons of money doing the same thing I did, and then they make tons of money. And that's all she wrote. Like our staff member, you don't have to be my staff anymore. You just become a colleague. And I'm sure in not too long, I'd even have something to learn from you that I would pay to show up to your thing. So it's totally a colleague and collaborator. Like that would be the goal to bring everybody up to. So, and it would be the similar thing with the women, to bring them up where they're making their own money and they're doing their own thing. But I get it. I'm still leading. And actually to keep the woman, you'd always be ahead of her like that. And realistically, I may always be ahead of my staff members and whatever, unless somebody really takes off and gets more ambitious than me about it. That would be like dating a girl who gets more into yoga than me. And she just has to go to India and like just go so into yoga beyond like me. Okay. Well, maybe you go the other way. You have this own purpose. That's where men and women, it's not the same, I don't think women have callings like that. I haven't seen that. I see women get into spirituality that really failed at life in other ways. And that's why that's why men go to spirituality too. It's this intangible thing that you can do for free that can bring some contentment and bliss, which kind of masks the pains of life and even offers potentially the rare salvation that you actually do, like kind of wake up to the suffering, like Eckhart Tolle or whatever. We have spirituality in IMC Nation. I think this is the really most legit spirituality that I've personally seen. I see things on TV that, looks pretty good, but in person, this is the best. Spiritually understanding human history, psyche, the soul in whatever levels we do, how the mind is orienting us, how we relate with each other, how important that is for our own karma and what we're creating. The idea of ethics, which is very spiritual idea. Because who created ethics? Where did ethics come from? That's like saying, where did gravity come from? What is right and wrong? That's divinity. So the study of ethics is spirituality. And it's very practical. But then so on and so forth. We're not failures in the game of relationships. We're successful in the game of relationships, or striving to be successful. And even a man who admits that he's not successful in relationships has all of a sudden put himself a tier above all the other unsuccessful men, which is most men. You're maybe not yet successful with women, but you've admitted you're not, and you're getting better now. And everyone else who's not successful with women is actually only getting worse. They're not going the right direction. You are, if you're here or studying from IMC Nation. And if you're listening to the recordings of Enlightened Masculinity, then you should join. The link is in the description for the show to get involved with IMC newsletter, all the stuff I put out. And so expanding IMC is about delegating responsibilities and letting other people take care of it when they want to. If they have that desire to do that role and lend their energy to creating with you something, give it to them. If you want to, you'll learn a lot in the process. And that accumulates for you as a man and a leader. You accumulate value as you accumulate the skill and wisdom of handling life. So, avoiding that because the situation is not maybe exactly what you want is only delaying your evolution. Okay, so I think that's about it. I'll be shifting the time of this podcast to something earlier on another day. And you can always write throughout the podcast or raise your hand if you ever have anything. So that's all there is right now for the show. And I'll see you all. Thank you, everybody on YouTube that participated in Zoom here. This and that. I'll see you guys on the next show of IMC TV's Enlightened Masculinity, or if I do it, on some other day. Os, J Guru Dev. Praise the Lord.